I have to say, I really like the UnixGuy. I didn't watch him in the beginning of my career, but I have started watching him since, and he has a ton of super helpful, super useful, on point tips and tricks on how to get started. So we're going to check it out, how I would learn cybersecurity if I could start over. Let's see if we agree.
It took me 7 years to land my first cybersecurity role, and if I could go back in time, this is exactly how I would do it. I will break this video into 3 parts: mindset, qualifications, and getting the job. And if you're not in college or university, then this video is for you.
Absolutely. You don't need college or university to get started in cybersecurity. You can. You absolutely can. If I was going to go that way, if I was 18 and really wanted that college degree, I would probably go computer science rather than getting a specific niche role in cybersecurity. If you're going to go specifically for cybersecurity at university or college, make sure they have a good computer science program. Because if they don't have a good computer science program, their cybersecurity program isn't going to be any better. The gold standard has always been computer science. It's been around forever. Cybersecurity is so much newer that it's going to be less reliable. The best part is you don't need a degree. You don't need a degree in this field. You absolutely don't. I do have a degree. It's in English, completely unrelated. If you have an unrelated degree, skip it.
It might be a little bit more challenging, but if you're willing to put in the work, you can definitely become a cybersecurity professional all by yourself. In fact, if I could go back in time, I don't.
That's so many certifications. Oh my gosh. And those are really good ones too. I'm not quite as qualified. I have a lot of certifications. It's so easy to get to amass certifications. I probably have that many, but all those ones that start with G are real expensive. Even the CISM, the C-Risk, man, all of those are like multi-$1,000 certifications there. That's crazy.
No, if I would go back to university. Part 1, mindset. This will sound a little bit of a cliche, but you need to adopt the hacker mindset.
Yes. Cybersecurity professionals think differently. In the same way programmers think differently, or engineers think differently, doctors and lawyers, they all think differently. There's a mindset, right? Construction workers think differently. There is a mindset to many professions on how things should work. And generally, the hacker mindset, it's going to be a lot of paranoia. Lots of paranoia. There's a lot of bad people out there, and you are not the administrator of the internet. You have very little control of how things operate and how they function, and everyone's trying to get you. Everyone's trying to steal your data, and it's like Google, Verizon, Roku, everyone's trying to steal your data and sell it, and then there's also threat actors who are legitimately just, trying to rob you blind. So, hacker mindset, be suspicious, number 1, and curious.
A hacker is not someone who's a criminal. A hacker is someone who's curious, who's constantly trying to learn how things work. Have you ever wondered?
Okay, yeah. Yes. The last one I started with, that second part, curious, I know I talked a lot about the other piece, but being curious is super necessary, especially if you're starting out. You need to know how things work first. You want to be curious on how things work, so as a hacker, you can be curious on how to break them, how to get around them, how to circumvent the systems and protocols and procedures we have in place to safeguard our systems. Starts with curiosity. Super agree.
How your web browser works. Have you ever wondered what happens when you type in a URL in your web browser? What happens when you click enter on a web browser? I want you to go on and Google it and keep on reading and studying up until you figure out exactly how that process happens, which leads me to part 2, qualifications. There is a really easy way to get started with the basics of cybersecurity that I only wish was available to me when I first started. There are 4 free courses by one of the best universities in the world, New York University, NYU. These courses are hosted at Coursera, a paid platform, but
man, I wish I could agree with him on this point. Coursera, and there's other freemium platforms like Coursera that offer really good courses, and you can even find really good courses on YouTube absolutely for free. But if you don't currently work in IT, then I don't know if I'm going to agree with him. Like this is perhaps not the place to start. Let's see what he has to say. 7-day free trial. Yes, you can get one course potentially done, but I think to even earn the certificate, you have to pay. No matter if you completed it within the 7 days, you're still going to have to pay.
You get 7 days free trial. They will give you a good introduction into what cybersecurity is, and they will.
Absolutely. I have multiple certificates from Coursera, and I found the content is really good. I particularly did the ones from Google. I'm sure these ones are also really well done. I have no doubt about it. I have no doubt about it that the information you will get from here is very useful. Couple of problems. One, there's no industry recognition for Coursera certificates. Just because you take a class from NYU doesn't mean you get and put it on your resume and now people are going to want to hire you because of that. Two, you'll gain theory, you'll gain knowledge, you won't probably gain skill. And that's one of the biggest issues with Coursera in general, is that it's not a hands-on, practical, lab-filled environment. It's just a knowledge environment, which, to be fair, at the very beginning, you need theory, you need knowledge. Before you get hands-on, you're probably going to want some theory.
Take you through various very basic important concepts in cybersecurity. I'll leave a link to these courses in the description box below. Point 2.1, certifications. It's not about the piece of paper, it's about the knowledge that you gain.
Yes and no. Sometimes it is about the piece of paper. Sometimes it is absolutely about the piece of paper because HR cares. Human resources, when you're trying to get a job, you need to get interviews. To get interviews, you have to submit your resume to human resources. You're not submitting your resume directly to a hiring manager, to a cybersecurity professional. Like the boss who currently hired me, she could care less about certifications. I don't think she has any. She doesn't care about them at all. And I like that. But there were several people in front of her that did care about it, right? HR cares about it. Recruiters care about it. That's how they vet you to see, are you qualified? Recruiters have no idea. HR has no idea what questions to ask you to see if you're qualified. And how do you determine if someone's qualified on a piece of paper? Well, it's generally going to be certifications. And I don't love that answer. I don't love it. But the fact of the matter is, I think there are certain certifications that when you put it on your resume will drastically increase your chances of getting a job. Or at least getting an interview. At least getting an interview.
If you're just starting out, then this is a video where I go through certifications that I recommend to someone who's completely new to cybersecurity. When you do those certifications, you see that process of studying for an exam and passing that exam in itself is a great way to gain knowledge into a certain topic. In my opinion, the best way of learning cybersecurity is by doing.
Yes. You need to practice, you need to lab everything you learn. From Security Plus, the CompTIA Security Plus certification, it's all theory, it's all multiple choice nonsense. But I forgot all of it. Probably shouldn't say but, and I forgot all of it because none of it is practical, hands-on, and applied. If you asked me 1 week after I took that exam what some of these concepts were, I'd be like, I've never learned that. That wasn't even on the test. And there was probably like 5 questions on it, right? Because theory unapplied is unretained. That sounded cooler than I meant it to be. Theory unapplied is unretained. You don't retain the skill. You don't turn knowledge into skill without doing a lab, without practicing it multiple times over. It's just, and in cybersecurity, it's all about skill, right? You wouldn't hire a construction worker to replace your windows if they've never replaced windows before. You wouldn't get some guy to fix your roof if they've never done roofing before. You're not going to hire someone in cybersecurity that doesn't have the skill to do the job. So certifications can be a great way, depending on the certification, to get those hands-on skills.
And those certifications that I usually recommend are practical and hands-on, meaning you need to pass a lab exam in order to get the certification. Point 2.2.
When you're looking at certifications, if you want to go off the list either that he gave or that I gave, look at what the exam is. If the exam is a multiple choice, and they'll lie to you. They will straight up lie to you. Like CompTIA, they'll say it's a practical exam. They'll say it's a super practical exam. It's not. It's 99% A, B, C, D questions, and maybe one or two different labs, like fake labs. Is more like drag and drop. Do your research on what the exam is. How practical actually is it? Is it applied skills? A lot of them are, and those are the best ones. Those are the ones you're going to skill up and crush it in those interviews because you've turned knowledge into practicality. When you can speak from practical experience, you'll knock it out of the park. You absolutely will.
Start a personal project. As you're doing the certifications, I want you to pick a topic that you're mostly interested in, and I want you to do a deep dive in that topic. For example, if you decide that you want to become a penetration tester, then I want you to start a personal project where you do capture the flags, for example.
Sentiment's true. There are so many niches within cybersecurity that getting one type of certification doesn't necessarily mean you can do every single job. Right, so in the example he gives penetration testing, which is typically network penetration testing. How do I break into a on-premise network or a virtualized network? And that's great for that particular job, but I would say at the very entry level, you're not going to niche down. And that's okay. You can learn these more advanced skills as a way of gaining a broader spectrum, but at the very beginning, you're probably not going to want to invest in multiple certifications in multiple niches. So I would say it's better to be generalized at the beginning, and once you get your first job as a SOC analyst, security analyst, information, whatever, all the names, security engineer, that's when you can niche down into a very specific job title, job role, job function. Whereas his advice does hold true. In the beginning, do what you're interested in because it will apply. So even though you're probably not going to go from, Baker or sales straight into penetration testing, because entry level red team is like mid tier. Like it's really difficult to get in there. Information is good to know in the beginning because it will make a good defensive analyst great, but you need to be a good defensive analyst first. All that is to say, spread out your knowledge wide at the beginning and then niche in.
You can find those capture the flags online, or you can do them through something like Hack the Box or Try Hack Me, or even in events that you will find in your community. Or for example, if you decide to be a blue team professional or a security operation analyst in a SOC, then pick a tool and get really good at it.
Try Hack Me and Hack the Box are two platforms absolutely worth starting at, no matter if you want to go red team, which is offensive security, or blue team, which is defensive security. In general, 99.999% of people are going to start in blue team. Okay, maybe not all the nines, but at least 95%. That's where most of the jobs are. And entry-level blue team has a lower barrier to entry than does entry-level red team. Because entry-level red team assumes you have a lot of the defensive skills as well as the offensive skills. So it's just, you need to be more of an expert to get there. Red teaming is just, in general, more of a stepping stone to get to.
Opinion, doing Splunk training and certifications, which are completely free, is an excellent way for someone who wants to become a SOC analyst. And that can be your personal project. You can do things with Splunk, you can search, you can do queries, you can write your own little scripts in Splunk. That can be your personal project, which you can put into your CV. Which brings me to the last point, getting hired. The first thing that you need to look at for getting hired is your CV. You can be the best cybersecurity professional in the world, but if your CV is bad, no one's going to call you for an interview.
It's so sadly true, whereas it's like marketing means more. How do bad certifications become industry standard? It's because of marketing. Some companies are so good at propaganda that they can convince entire industries, hey, we're the best. We are the absolute best. We are the standard. Everyone needs to get our certification to be considered for your job. And similarly, in the way that the certification industry can do that, you need to do that for yourself, right? All of us can have very similar experience when you're applying for those entry-level roles. You're going to be matched up to people with similar experience, similar skills, similar projects, certifications, job history. How you stand out is literally this freaking piece of paper. So maddening. But it's how are you going to put hundreds of dollars, potentially hundreds of hours towards training and certifications, and then skip out on the piece of paper that will actually get you the interview. Don't do it. Don't skip over like the most crucial point, which is frustrating, right? No one likes job hunting. I hate job hunting, but you got to get that resume on point.
And the most important part of your CV is the practical skills and the tool and the knowledge that you have. For example, if you're targeting penetration testing job, it's really important to add specific skills to your CV. So talk about your experience using particular tools that you use in your penetration testing personal project or certification. The same thing applies if you're looking for a SOC analyst role as a beginner, is to add the tools that you've learned and got some experience and confidence with these tools. For example, if you've been doing Splunk certifications and you have a personal project doing Splunk work, then the first thing I want to see on your CV is that work you've done with Splunk. As a hiring manager, we know that someone who's new to the field doesn't have all the knowledge that we need. But if someone who's a beginner show me that they know a specific tool that we used in the job, trust me, you will be a top candidate and I want to interview you.
On your resume or your CV, you can put a section called projects. You can put a section called skills, where you can just list out. So when I was first applying, I had one called skills, and it was just 20 or 30 different platforms, tools, knowledge, like just all the hashtags you could basically think of that hiring managers would want to see. And this really helped pass some of that ATS filtering, in that I had all of the keywords that they wanted. Everything that a hiring manager wanted to see was in that section. So it was like just check from HR. Super agree.
3.1, applying for jobs. This one drives me crazy, especially with people that I mentor. I usually get someone who's trying to break into cybersecurity and I ask them, so how many jobs have you applied to? And they'll be like, I applied to maybe 1 or 2 jobs in the last 2 months and I got rejected. You can't do this.
Are you kidding? 1 to 2 jobs? If you're only applying to 1 or 2 jobs, you're not serious. You don't give an F. You don't care. You need to be applying to 1 or 2 jobs every day, or more, like 3, 4, 5 jobs every day. It's a numbers game. It's straight up a numbers game. Even if you are competitive, even if you have you have experience, you have knowledge, you've got a degree, like you check every single box, it's still a numbers game. The only way to bypass this is either nepotism, right? Having someone in the industry, or like a recruiter reaches out to you, or, right, because these two are going to be more rare. The third one is just be known in the industry. So as you accumulate job experience, people are going to know you. So like at my last company, there was a mass exodus, right? A dozen of us or more left to various companies. Multiple of those people at other companies were like, hey, they called me up, hey, Kyle, do you want a job? And I was like, oh, tell me about it, right? Because they want to hire people they worked with, people they know, people they like, people they trust. The more experience, the job history you build up, that's how you can bypass it. But as an absolute beginner, I was applying to like 20 jobs, 30 jobs every single week. You got to hustle after it. It does take a lot of time. It does. You're going to put your cert studying aside and you're going to focus on this like it's a full-time job, because 6 figures doesn't come easily, right? This is not just people are trying to throw money at you. You got to earn it. And this is how you earn it. Apply.
Beginner, you can't afford not to apply for jobs. Once you get your CV in order, I want you to apply to every single job that you see. I want you to look at all the jobs that are advertised on LinkedIn or any job search website in your country every single day, and I want you to hit that apply button. Even if you meet 10% of what they want in that particular job, still apply. You never know.
Yes. Who gives an F if you only meet 10% of what they want in that job description? Who cares? Apply. They are looking for unicorns that do not exist. Even people with advanced experience with a lot of job history don't meet all of the criteria that they're looking for. It's absolutely insane the type of candidates that they're asking for, especially at entry level. And it's, who cares? If you match one bullet point, go for it. Go for it. Do it. Don't pass it up. Just go for it. If you wait for the perfect match, and I was doing this in the beginning, I was like, man, I only meet half or 3/4. I don't meet these other checkpoints. I don't want to waste their time. You're wasting your time by not applying to those, because most other candidates don't match all of those checkpoints anyway. And half the time, honestly, HR is the one creating these job postings, and they don't know what to put on them. They have no freaking clue what any of these things mean. So they're just copying either old ones or what their other HR friends did at other companies. They're going on to LinkedIn and copying someone else's. The hiring managers are not always the ones creating these job postings, so they don't know what to put in these freaking skills sections. They don't know what the day-to-day is going to be like. Just apply. Just apply. Thank me later. Thank UnixGuy now. Thank me later.
Beginner, you need to get in front of companies as many times as possible. You need to gain experience in interviews. You need to gain that confidence in talking about your skills in interviews. And this cannot happen if all you're doing is applying for 1 or 2 jobs. Point 3.3, the interview. Remember the mindset that we talked about at the beginning of this video? Now, this is where I want you to display and demonstrate that mindset. When we're hiring for entry-level jobs, we know that we don't have all the skills that we're looking for. But what we're really looking for is someone with a good attitude, someone who's willing to learn, and someone who can work well with others. And
absolutely true. Hiring managers know entry-level positions are for new people that don't have all the skills. Are you trainable? Are you someone that we want to work with? Do you have the type of attitude that I want to spend 40 hours a week with? Are you going to be easy to manage? Are you curious in the sense of you're willing to put in the work on your own time? Or am I going to have to drag you through the mud on this entire process? Because who wants to do that? You're being hired to solve problems. Anyone can train you, right? The hiring manager can train you to do the job, but your job is to make it as easy as possible for them. Straight up, that's all that it is.
The way for you to demonstrate that is to let us know about the personal project that you've been working on, to tell the interviewer about the certifications that you've been doing. In fact, I want you to say this in the interview. I know that I'm still new in cybersecurity, but I'm willing to learn. If there is something that I don't know, I will figure it out and I will learn it. This communicates that you're someone with good attitude, that you're someone with an open mind or not arrogant, and you're willing to learn. The other thing I want you to do before an interview is to actually search the company. For example, if you're interviewing with an insurance company, just have a look at their website, look at their values, look at what is it that they do. Bonus points for those who watched the video so far is I want you to get involved in the community. So go to meetup.com.
To his last point, absolutely research the company. After you go through phase 1 with HR and they approve you for phase 2, then do your research on that company. Go to Glassdoor, do your OSINT. Hopefully you've taken some OSINT classes, open source intelligence gathering. It's a great way to learn about, are you a good fit for the company? Are you a good fit for the position? What questions might they ask you in the interview? This is how you crush it. This is how you can absolutely crush interviews, is by knowing the questions they're going to ask you beforehand. And you can find those questions online. You just got to look.
And look for cybersecurity events. There is probably some events that are happening in your city. This is the chance for you to make friends, to meet people who are trying to break into cybersecurity like yourself.
I've never done this, and I wish I had. It's one of those things that most of you, like me, are like, ugh, meet people, ugh, network, talk to people, ugh, go outside, ugh. No thanks, right? But think about it this way. You got to be willing to do more than what everyone else is willing to do. So if you want to be in the top 10% of all applicants, you want to be in the top 10%, you got to be willing to do more than what 90% of the other people are unwilling to do. And 90+% of us are unwilling to go to meetups. We're awkward, we don't like engaging in small talk, we're not good at it, whatever the case is, doesn't matter, right? Stop making excuses and just go. They're going to be like-minded people. They're not going to care that you're brand new. They're not going to make fun of you because you're new to cybersecurity and you're trying to break in. No one, like the cyber community, by and large, is really helpful. They're really kind. They're really nice. We were all new at one point. We didn't know anything. Some of us we're still in that process of learning. I don't know everything. I have a ton of stuff I want to yet learn. You're all on this journey, and people, anyone that like faults you and looks down on you because of where you're at, fuck them. Like they're so rare. Those people tend to not go to these meetups. They're not going to waste their time by going to these meetups just to look down their nose on you. That doesn't happen. I've been to conferences. I've talked with these people. They're socially awkward, just like me. It's completely fine. You're going to get along with them. Okay, just try it out. What do you got to lose?
Also, you may meet hiring managers or you may meet people with more experience than yourself. And most of these events are usually for free. My favorite event is the OWASP chapter, which is focused on application security, even though I'm not an application security specialist. But I really enjoy listening to the speakers. I really enjoy the networking that happens. If you want a list of the certifications that I recommend, then this is the video where I discuss those certifications.
Awesome video. GRC, if you're looking to break into cybersecurity, I have heard GRC is one of the best paths into it if you're not looking to be a SOC analyst, or maybe you want to bypass a lot of the technical skills that you would need. Governance, risk, and compliance, GRC, is perhaps one of the, it even says right there, non-technical. It's the least technical. There's still some technical parts to it. It's on how to evaluate, are the security controls in place, which controls should be in place, and there's frameworks that tell you exactly what you need. So that's a great place to start. Definitely worth checking that one out. UnixGuy coming in with some fire advice. Absolutely appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.